everyone. So I am back with another video, and this video is, I've been doing a lot of literacy skills and talking about using literacy skills with flannel board pieces and different parts of a flannel board to have fun with literacy. And then the last video that I made, I actually demonstrated the method for making flannel boards with fabric that you iron on. And so today, I wanted to sort of wrap up and share a few things that I think are really valuable and good to know that I didn't share in the other video because it was kind of a long video and I just wanted to focus on the method for making the flannel boards. But this time I have a couple extra tips and other things I want to share with you. So the first thing I wanted to share, I think this came up in another video, and I think I said at that time, I think it was the letters video, where I talked about making different letters on the flannel board and just how it was hard with the method that I showed with the iron-on fabric, because with letters and also with numbers too, you actually have to start like the way you would draw it or trace it to make it come out the right direction. You have to trace it backwards. So you'd have to write the B, not the regular way, but the opposite way, in order for it, because you flip the fabric around, it ends up flipping over to the other side, just the way that the method works, so that you can iron it so that it turns into the B going the right direction. So even though you can make letters and you can make numbers using this method, and some are a little bit easier than others, obviously the I and the O aren't going to be as tricky as the B or the G, because it has to face the right way. It's a lot easier to die cut your felt letters and felt numbers. And so I'm going to show you. So this is what the fabric method looks like. But if you look at the die cut pieces, the different letters, I hope I have it facing the right way. Anyway, they look great. They're easy to see. There, you can do all different colors of, there we go, of the fabric, of the felt. Because felt comes in all different colors, so you can make the letters bright and pretty without needing to do the iron-on method, and it's a lot simpler just to die cut the letters out. So a couple things about that. So I used, when I die cut my letters, and also I've made numbers that I can do different number activities and counting things in games on the flannel board. I used this stiff felt. It just makes it's easier to work with if you're sharing a flannel board story with children, and then later if they want to do the flannel boards on their own and put letters and numbers and make words and do counting and stuff like that, if the felt is stiffer like this, hopefully you can see, it's just easier to hold, it's easier to work with, because sometimes it can be kind of thin and floppy, and it's frustrating to try and get the letters and the numbers on without them kind of bending and doing funny things. So you can get this stiff felt at any major craft store, lots of fabric stores. I know that when I go to some of the bigger craft stores, there's actually a flannel or felt section they actually have, so they have a bigger sort of fabric area where you can get large bolts of felt, but then they have smaller sort of paper size, 8.5 by 11 felt of all different colors. And they have the sort of more thinner, floppy material, and they have the stiffer ones too. And I believe you can get the stiff felt in a lot of different colors too, and sometimes you can get it in a bigger size sheets as well if you're wanting to make a lot of letters or numbers. So that's my first tip. My second tip about die cutting letters and numbers is, if you don't know and aren't familiar with Bates Technical College, their South Campus, they have an amazing resource center, which I've been to. It's been a few years, but I love it. It has over 500 die cuts, so it definitely has all the letters, all the numbers in probably lots of different sizes and varieties. But besides that, there's a whole bunch of different shapes, animals, people, vehicles, things about the weather. I mean, you name it, they have it. Over 500. And felt and fabric like this is actually a lot easier on the die cuts than paper is. Paper actually dulls the die cuts after a while, whereas this stuff is a little bit easier and more gentle on it, so it's better for the die cuts. So I think if you bring your felt, bring your fabric that you want to do to the resource center, because I've used my fabric there before, you should be able to do that. It shouldn't be a problem. You would just sign in. The one thing I will say about the center right now is that they are not open. Lots of places are closed right now for obvious reasons. They're hoping to open it up again some point in the not too distant future, but I don't want to give any dates because, you know, things always change. But the best thing to do would be to check their website to find out about the most current information for when the resource center might open again. And of course you can search for it on a search engine like Google or Bing. I have their web address, which I'm going to say really slow now, so you can write it down if you want. So it is www. dot, and then it's Bates, BATES, and then TECH. This is all one word. Bates Tech. Okay, Bates Tech. .edu. Okay, and then you want to do a forward slash. Whoop, kind of hard to describe, but a forward slash. And you would type in all one word again. You would type in resource center. The R is capitalized in resource, and the C is capitalized. So it is capital R, ESOURCE, and then capital CENTER. Altogether. So it's www.batestech.edu / resource center. And the R and the C are capitalized. R for resource, C for center. So, but if you go to the search engine like Google and type in Bates Resource Center or Bates Technical College Resource Center, it should get you there the same very quickly. And they have their calendar with their hours and times and stuff like that, which of course they're closed right now, but once that gets updated, you should get the times and when they're going to be open each day. So, and besides the die cuts, they also have a whole bunch of ideas that they kind of do, like based on like I think they do fall, winter, spring, summer, at least 4 times a year. They have different themes where you can go around and look at different activity ideas that you might want to use in your own center with your children, and you can take a sample so you can replicate it back with your children. So it's just got lots of great ideas there, but the die cuts for me are the highlight. Besides Bates Technical College, their resource center, the only other place I know in the area that I've discovered, of course that doesn't mean there probably are other places that has die cuts that you can use, is Ben Franklin Crafts Store. They're the closest one I know of to where everybody is who's probably watching this video in Pierce County is up in Bonnie Lake. So if you type into a search engine, if you type in Ben Franklin Bonnie Lake, you should be able to get their address and contact information. I'd always call before coming because I don't know if they are having access to their die cuts right now. I don't know if there's restrictions, but I do know that in the past they've had die cuts for people to use as long as they purchase the paper or the fabric there. so that's the other resource about that. Now I also wanted to share when you are decorating your flannel boards, because I know sometimes people like to have fun when they're decorating things they've made to use with children. You might want to use fabric paints or different things like that. But when I do these flannel boards, I'm going to show a few. Because the fabric is so much fun, the fabric is really the standout. It is the decoration. Here's my panda bear. And with this guy, I just used black and white fabric on my felt background. And I don't really think you need any more than that. But I'm going to show this guy. It's another kind of bear. It's a flannel board I did about different kinds of bears. And here's my sun bear. And this bear I used 2 different kinds of fabric, again, 2 different shades of brown on the black felt. But I just, and I cut his eyes out. But you know, it would look exactly the same if you took a marker or a Sharpie and just drew 2 dots for his eyes. It saves a lot of time. It's really hard with the detail scissors sometimes to get in there and cut out all the little details around his face. So you could definitely use a Sharpie for his eyes and for his nose. A Sharpie or a marker would work great for adding a little bit of detail or a little bit of decoration to what you made with your fabric on the flannel board. Even going around and doing his claws or something like that with a Sharpie would work too. And it's a lot easier. So that's my decorating tip. My tip for sometimes, I think it's wonderful to put all the felt pieces out for children and that they can use during their free time, during their playtime, to practice saying the names of things or having fun playing games with it or being creative however they want to play with the flannel board pieces. And they're pretty safe because it's just fabric, so it's wonderful. You can put them out if you have a variety of ages of children, especially because the pieces aren't that small. Most of them are kind of about this size, so they're bigger. So they'd be safe to have around toddlers and babies as well. But sometimes the fabric does start to peel off from the backing or the felt a little bit, especially if they get a lot of use. So if this happens, you can always just put it on your ironing board again and re-iron over it again. That should help it to stick back together. That's a pretty easy fix. Sometimes I found though, especially with flannel boards I've had for a while, that the adhesive stickiness starts to wear off after a while, so that doesn't necessarily work. So if that's the case, you can try just putting a little bit of glue underneath and gluing it back together. I've used Elmer's glue, like the liquid in the bottles. That's probably good because most centers and places that work with children already have lots of Elmer's glue and it's non-toxic. So that's a good place to start if the ironing it back together doesn't work. But there is also fabric glue you could use and that will stick it for sure. All right, and the other thing I wanted to share, I know before I mentioned about how to get fun patterns to use to make the flannel board pieces. And it's really simple, but since I put it on the really long video, I thought I would also add it to this short video too, so you would have it. I'm going to show a couple of patterns. This was the pattern I did with my mittens when I made my mitten on the flannel board sample. Here are some other fun patterns. These are different things that go. Like this one, here's something that goes. A horse, right? So to get some really easy, simple patterns, go to your favorite place you like to search online, whether that's Google, Bing, whatever your search engine of choice is. And then in the box, you're going to type in whatever the picture it is that you're looking for. So like if you wanted to find a car, so you put car and then put coloring pages after that. So car coloring pages. Because you're going to get something that's more like this where it gives you an outline, which is exactly what you want for tracing and ironing and being able to see things really clearly. If you do something that's got all kinds of colors and stuff like that, even though it's a cool picture, it's going to be harder to see when you go to trace your pattern out. So car or horse and then coloring pages. And then you just want to make sure you're doing right underneath your search box. It should have different ways to search and it should say something like image search. So you just want to click on image search and then everything that comes up will be a picture. So you get all the choices that way. That's how I get most of my patterns, is just by doing a search like that. A lot of times I can just print it off directly from the web page that it came up on. I would just click the one that I want and just print from there. But if it doesn't want to go, because sometimes it decides not to print, you should just be able to copy the image and put it into a Word document and print it from a Word document. So you could just copy, paste it into Word. So copy it from where you searched. And then right click and you're going to paste it, open up Word, paste it into Word. So right click and paste. And then you can print it from a Word document. So hopefully that was clear, but certainly let me know because I'm happy to explain that again. So the one other thing I wanted to share with you, and this is just kind of a fun extra tip. when I was a long time ago teaching the flannel board class, I forget who it was that shared this with me, but they had used pizza boxes, obviously new pizza boxes, to make their flannel boards. So they went to, you know, whatever local pizza shop is closest by and just asked for a box, a new box, and then you take a piece of felt, and it works best if you have kind of a really strong glue, or ideally a glue gun, because it'll really stick it on there. But you cut your felt to the shape of your pizza box and then just glue it on. You could glue it to the top of the box, or you could open it up and glue it on the inside of the lid, or on the inside of the bottom part of the box too. So that there's a lot of different places where children can put the felt pieces when they open up the pizza box. And the great part about it is that it also serves as storage for your flannel board pieces when you're not using them. So it's fun. You can use it lots of different ways. It's versatile. And it's something that if you made a couple flannel boards out of pizza boxes and you put different felt pieces in the pizza boxes, this could be an activity children could take to a table or take to the floor and do on their own too. So it makes it fun that way also. So those are all of my tips for today. Bates Resource Center is wonderful. When they open back up, they have all those amazing die cuts. If you're decorating or doing detail work, a Sharpie or a marker is pretty much all you need, because the fabric speaks for itself. Here's my bunny. Using stiff felt to make the letters or numbers for when you're doing the die cuts works great. It's easier for children to work with because it doesn't fall all apart. And the pizza box flannel boards. So I hope everybody has fun making flannel boards, and I would love to see what you make. I would love to see the pictures of what you make when you're done. All right, thank you so much.